O sons of Tech, arise, behold. The banner as it reigns supreme.
The Yellow Jackets has been the name of Georgia Tech's team since 1905, when Coach John Heisman declared it so. Very quickly, cartoonists of the time animated the insect to represent Tech, although Heisman clearly stated the name was chosen because the boys wore yellow jerseys. For years, Yellow Jackets appeared in the press, on and off campus, as the fearsome, sometimes mischievous creature that the annoying little insect was actually like. In 1980, some Tech students decided to take the idea one step further and create a living Yellow Jacket, one that could serve as a mascot and energize Tech fans.
My memories go back to the three of us spending some time talking and working together. We wanted something that was durable, that was soft for doing some of the acrobatic stunts, and something that was lightweight, and so we had a lot of trial and error, and I think she really enjoyed going through this process. There was nobody to stop me. I mean, it was, I don't know if I would call it a prank, but I was going to do it, yeah.
Satisfied that they were on the right track, the Yellow Jacket made a few test appearances and then went public at the Tech Florida game. It was love at first sight for all concerned and quickly earned school sanction.
And I think they asked for me to hold still for a short period of time where they could do some things like make sure that Buzz would be covered under the insurance.
The character adapted to all the traits of the original.
He is a very, hyper, it's an insect. He's moving around a lot. He shakes his hands and he moves his head like this and he walks like this. And so there was a lot of just that. I mean, I think we walked around in a circle like Buzz, which was kind of funny.
Aggressive, pugnacious, persistent, troublesome, always moving and aggravating, the mascot became known as Buzz.
The most important element of being Buzz is you have to be immediately creative. You see something happen and you just have to react in a way that is going to entertain people and in a way that's true to the character of Buzz.
When you put the suit on and once you kind of get into character, there are no limitations for what Buzz can do and where he can go. He basically has free roam and access to anything on campus, anywhere on campus, and to anybody on campus. And he can get away with doing anything. And hey, it's just Buzz, what are you gonna do? You can't be the bad guy to Buzz. So it was very much I have no limitations.
We prided ourselves that the character was Buzz, regardless of who was in it. We performed the character while we were in that suit. And if that meant that we had to have similar mannerisms, we would look in front of a mirror and see if we could all move together. Now granted, we had height differential and weight, but if no one noticed the height, then you should be able to see the same mannerisms, the same tricks, the same gimmicks.
Most important really is you don't want to look like a girl. You don't want it to be girly Buzz. Because Buzz is a boy and Buzz isn't someone, Buzz is.
The students inside of the costume naturally fell into the part.
So I guess it's almost like, kind of taking on a role. It's a part, and you do just kind of have to, put yourself totally into that character.
I can't tell it's me because I don't move like me. I go running, because I used to do this thing where you'd run, you run, and Buzz has got the walk going, right? And you'd flip right in the middle of the football field, which I couldn't do a flip. I couldn't do a flip then. I'm not a gymnast. And then we'd run and smash into the goalpost.
You put the head on and the switch flips and I'm not Bert anymore, I'm Buzz. And I know exactly what to do and I can handle any scenario as Buzz would.
I look at the students that are in the mascot outfit today and I kind of snicker, and I have to because, we did it because we loved it. There was no money, there's no compensation. We just beat our bodies up. We put the suit on every other day and we ran around and exhausted ourselves just because it was the funnest thing to do. And I loved it.
They were transported by the role they played.
There was a certain rush in doing that. It was exhilarating, and And very quickly, whether it was the first game or a later game, Buzz became accepted as a real part of the spirit of each game.
One of the things I loved about Buzz was that you could get away with anything. I mean, it's like access to anywhere you wanted to go.
You just run out and you've kind of got, every eye in the stadium kind of on you. When you do the push-ups for scoring, those were always fun, and I was in decent shape at the time, and that wasn't a problem to do those. But it was always fun to kind of get the crowd involved in that.
The costume, which has become so familiar to the tech community, does create some angst in its wearers, like finding a safe place to put it on.
Because you didn't want to go into the men's room and come out as, a bee, so you were always trying to find sort of a secret place to change. But yeah, once you put the suit on, I mean, it sounds silly, but you kind of were, you were something else.
It was generally that was the hardest piece, is finding a place wherever you were at, especially if you were off campus, where you didn't know the area and you had to ask people. And you said, "Hey, look, I'm doing the event. I need to find a place to go change. It's private, that I can do that and then come out and then go back." So that was one of the hardest things, was simply getting in the suit. Wasn't too much trouble once you learned how to put the suit on, and you could hook everything up and kind of do everything yourself. The biggest deal was actually just finding a place so you could have the 15-20 minutes it took you really to get all dressed and ready.
We'd wear a couple layers often, because during football games you're jumping fences, and I mean, if you can't show any skin. So if you ever ripped a pantyhose or tight or whatever, I mean, you better get out of sight really quick.
The costume can be rather uncomfortable at times.
Grant Field at the time was artificial turf, and as you know, you start playing late August, early September, it could be 110 degrees on that football field. And I know I probably lost about 10 pounds in water weight.
Way too hot in September in Atlanta. Yeah, I have no idea what the actual temperature is inside that suit, but you could cook things.
It's sort of like being in a little mini oven.
As a result of the high temperatures the costume generates, another problem is created.
You just walked around like a smelly, sweet, air-freshened, it was like a bad bathroom experience, And you try to do these quaint appearances, birthdays and events and ribbon cuttings, and you're standing next to some very important people, and you just stink to high heaven.
There was like several stages. Somebody who had never been close to Buzz goes through it, and the first is, "There's Buzz." The second is, "Oh, he's coming over here." And the third is, "Oh, I'm getting a hug." And the fourth is, "Get away from me."
Over the years, Buzz has developed some interesting skills and habits.
I appeared several times in roller skates. I put a hard hat on Buzz and some knee pads and some suspenders and some roller skates, and would skate around the basketball court right behind the players. I tripped over a television cord one night because you couldn't see very well in these smoky glass eyes that were in the costume, and there were 7 or 8 stacks of big metal folding chairs that they would use at times to fill up that space when there were big crowds coming. And when I tripped over the television cord, I went full steam into these stacks of chairs, and they all came toppling over. But someone asked me if I was hurt, and I said, "Well, we're going to act like it, because this would be too embarrassing otherwise." So they had an ambulance crew carry me off in costume, and then they bandaged me up from head to toe, and during halftime I made a reappearance.
I think I started the Buzz getting, surfing the crowd, where you start up and you just surf the crowd and you put your trust in all these people that you don't know just to kind of pass you up. So that was kind of fun.
I had a football in front of my stomach, and had exited the plane and kind of lost my lead skydiving friend that somewhat helps me guide me into where I need to land. And I was on approach, and I had one more turn. I was flying on the south side of the field, right over the top of the Wardlaw building. I was flying east to west from from the freeway, towards the deck tower, and I had one more turn. I had a 90-degree right turn to make to come straight down the field, heading north and land on the 50-yard line. And I had about that big of a field of view, and I could see the football field, and I started the approach, and I'm staring at it and staring, and let it up and landed, and I touched down. And I jettisoned the parachute, and I went sprinting across the field, and I ran into the goalpost and came back, and I spiked the football in the middle of the field. And it wasn't for about 10 or 15 minutes, because I ran around on the field for a little while, and then I made it back. I made it back to the bowels underneath the stands where we had a little Buzz changing room, and I sat down on the ground and realized, oh, that was the scariest thing I have ever done in my life.
Interacting with children can be a mixed blessing, and learning to deal with them is definitely part of the Buzz job.
There are three types, as I can recall. They're either very pleasant and just amazed and surprised and intrigued by the character, and they're somewhat hesitant, but they want to walk up, and they're just so curious. That's the fun one. We love those. Then there's the ones that are just deathly afraid. They are frightened when they see you round the corner. If you approach them, if you stick your hand out, if the head gets near their face, they turn, they shriek, they run the other direction. And then there's the one that none of us like, which is the mischievous, angry one.
The little
the
mean
kids
kid, huh?
that just think you are a punching bag.
Oh, really?
And the second you walk up, they start kicking you, they start tugging at you, they start pulling you. They do everything in their free, like you're the biggest stuffed animal they got in their collection.
I remember going over to one of the Atlanta shelters for children and playing Santa Claus with Santa Claus. So Santa Claus was there, and Buzz got to come and give out presents as well and sit on Santa's lap. And that was a lot of fun because the kids love Buzz, especially in that age group before they become hoodlums at those little boys that are 10 and 12 years old that all they want to do is find out the guy that's in Buzz. But the younger kids, they really love Buzz and enjoy him, and so that was always fun.
After all is said and done, everyone agrees the benefits far outweigh any difficulties.
Great job interview tool. I had entire interviews where I didn't talk about anything but Buzz. Just put it right at the bottom of your resume, and they're like, oh, that's nice. You were Buzz? And you go, yes, I don't have to talk about anything but Buzz now.
It was actually one of the graduated Buzzes that said, you should really put this on a resume because it's very noticeable. So I put it on there as Georgia Tech cheerleading in parentheses Buzz, and then just decided to see if they would ask about it, and everyone always did. And I hate to say it, but I really do think that it helped getting a job, especially at Disney, because that's somewhere that and there's 1.5 million engineers, and have one that has some sort of tie to the arts and entertainment, especially from another Georgia Tech graduate who's interviewing you. It's like, cool,
The thing about being Buzz, and this is just kind of the transcendental thing about the whole thing, is that it sets you, when people know that you're Buzz, that you were Buzz at Georgia Tech, it sets you apart in their mind. And most people have never met a mascot, and it's something that people are immediately interested to find out. What's that like, being inside that suit and everything? And it's opened, it's put me in a lot of positions where it has opened doors for me to, talk to alumni or local celebrities or whatnot, and and people talk and they listen, and it gives people a reason to remember me.
There are so many highlights in a Buzz life, they are hard to sum up.
A lot of camaraderie between us. We all knew each other, and we had to work together to make sure that we had Buzz at the right events and that type of thing. So that was just the friend piece. But not a whole lot of people knew Buzz, so everything that I got out of it was all internalized. It was the ability of, hey, I can get away with anything. Hi, I'm the entertainer here. All eyes are on me. So that was kind of a fun thing. Having fun with the kids groups. I signed the Buzz signature more times than I probably signed that one faster and more legibly than my own. So that was a lot that I got out of it. That was fun then at the time.
I mean, everything was fun. It was, I mean, seeing little kids' faces just lighten up, and no matter how tired or stressed out you were about something, it just, when I would go in, I was buzzed and I didn't think twice about it, and just, it's, the nasty smell of the helmet's like a magic feeling of just to go, and just seeing the kids' faces, and really just some of the really big and intense moments of like running out in the middle of a football field with just your fans and your friends and your family, and just people that, the little kids that you'll never know that were following Buzz with the binoculars. Just like you had been all the years. Oh yeah.
Since 1980, Buzz has been a very important part of Georgia Tech. Like his namesake, the Yellow Jacket, he is very social and quick to defend his territory. Over time, his territory has become the heart and soul of Tech's spirit. Many thanks to the men and women who have donned the costume and attended the games, the groundbreakings, visited children's hospitals, gone to weddings, participated in the holiday parties. The list is endless. So here's to Buzz, who just like his buddy George P. Burdell, will always be a part of Georgia Tech.